webinar today is about measurements through the eyes of the system test team. It's about what I've learned through my experience on what measurements to collect and how to use them to pursue success in system testing. And where I'd like to start is by telling you exactly what I mean by success in system testing, but because to me, it's more than just about finding problems. This is what I call my formula for success in system testing. By technical excellence, I'm referring to the skills for developing and executing tests that prevent important problems from reaching users, which of course is the purpose of system testing. But by nurturing front-loaded quality, I'm talking about a different set of skills. The skills to influence the behavior of others, change their attitude, help create a project culture in which everyone on the team understands that quality needs to be designed in and built in, not tested in at the end, and where developers understand that good developer testing is an absolute prerequisite for good system testing. Different type of skills, but these skills, the skills that can prevent problems from even reaching the system test phase of the project, have to be as important as the skills to find them once they get there. In fact, from an economic point of view, you could argue they're more important, since we all know it's always cheaper to get it right the first time. So as it stands, the formula says there are two distinct types of skills you can use to achieve success in system testing: skills to find problems and the skills to prevent problems. Now, I think that's a pretty important message. But the point I want to make today is a little shorter than that. And to make that point, I'm going to add some constraints into the formula. Now, with these constraints, the formula says something a little different. It says technical excellence in system testing is necessary, but it's not sufficient. And nurturing front-loaded quality is not an optional way to pursue success in system testing, but an absolute necessity. And my simple justification for this version of the formula is based on a long career in system testing, where if I've learned one thing, it's this: you never get a chance to do your job in system testing unless you can get others on the project to do their jobs. So this version of the formula will be a key theme in my presentation, and I'll try to give a balanced treatment of how measurements can help system testers to achieve technical excellence in their jobs, as well as to help them nurture front-loaded quality on their project. Now, all of the material that I'll present today, and a lot more, is covered in my book, System Testing with an Attitude. And my publisher, Dorset House, has asked me to tell you that they're offering a special promotion to today's webinar participants, and I'll give you the details towards the end of my talk. But first, let's begin by ensuring that we're all on the same page with respect to the meaning of the term system testing. Now, the role of developers on a software project is essentially to transform user needs into deliverable software. And this includes doing anything and everything that's necessary, including any type of testing required, to convince themselves that the software does what it's supposed to do. But at the end of the development interval, the software isn't given directly to the users. It's given to another group of people that I'm referring to as a system test team. And for a period of time allocated in the project plan developed by the project manager, the system testers act as the first users. They install the software into the system test environment, they try it out under important business situations, and they try to find problems. Each problem they find is routed back to the developers, who are urged to solve the most important problems immediately. The improved software comes back to the system test team, they look for more problems, problems go back to the developers, and through this iterative process, better software goes out to the users than originally came in to the system test team, sometimes significantly better. Now, let's talk about why system test teams need measurements to pursue success in their job, as I've described it.
Nathan, I'm sorry to interrupt, but could you go on the handset? We're getting some disturbance in the speakerphone.
Okay. Well, here are 4 reasons why system testers need to collect measurements. First of all, we need measurements early in the software development lifecycle that will allow us to estimate the size of the system testing job that we're faced with. You can never be effective in system testing without at least trying to get the right resources. Now I say trying because we all know you don't always get the people in the time you need, but if you at least understand the size of the job you're faced with, you're in the best position to negotiate resources and to understand how to prioritize and deal with resource shortfalls. Next, we need measurements to monitor the delivery of the system to be tested as it's turned over from development. As we discussed, system testing is an iterative process. It starts off with a big bang when the software is turned over to system test, and then we get iterations to the system as problems are found and fixed. And as part of our job, we constantly need to know what we're expecting from development, how much of it we've got, and what they still owe us, so we can manage the process to convergence. The third reason we need measurements is to help track testing progress and results. In addition to needing to know exactly where we stand with respect to which tests are working and which aren't, we need to act as the collectors and interpreters of the results of testing so that we can work with project management to make decisions as to when software is ready to be released to users. And measurements are essentially the language by which we communicate our results. And finally, and here's where the nurturing front-loaded quality comes in, we need measurements as a way to help us learn from our experience, to help people on the project, both system testers and developers, get better at their jobs, since this is an integral part of real success in system testing. Now, this next chart is a table where the first column lists the types of measurements that I found most useful in system testing. And in the heading of the first row, I've listed the 4 needs we just discussed. And the X's on the chart show which individual measurements fulfill which needs. And as you can see from the chart, some individual measurements fulfill multiple needs. And also, and this is really the punchline of my webinar today, they all have a role in fulfilling the need to help project team members get better at their jobs, as we'll see a little bit later on. Let's make our way through the list. In order to size the system testing job, we need to know how big the software to be tested is from the point of view of user functionality, since system testing is really about trying out user capabilities. Now, of course, using function points is the best way to measure functionality, because that's exactly what function point analysis is designed to do, to quantify user functionality and its complexity. And if you have data on how much effort it took you to do past system testing jobs, broken down by function point size of the associated system, you're in a good position to project future testing efforts for a system with a given number of function points. In addition to comparing against your own past results, function point analysis actually opens up a whole world of benchmarking data. So you can benefit from the experience of other companies like yours and also compare yourself with best-in-class companies in your industry so you know what's reasonable to shoot for as a goal. But of course, while some companies use function points, many don't. So what do you do when you don't have the luxury of function point analysis? Well, you do the best you can with other statistics that are related to the functionality of the software to be tested. And unfortunately, it probably won't be a single number. It'll be more like a table, including such things as how many user capabilities are in the system to be tested, like the number of screens, reports, transactions, or how many user problems are fixed in the release, or maybe estimates about the size of the associated development effort, whether in lines of code or number of people over time. And if you have historical data relating some of these statistics in your particular environment and technology with the effort it took you to test the corresponding system, you can compare the current system to be tested with similar systems you've tested, and this can help you project how much testing effort will be required on the upcoming project. Actually, there's a third way to get your arms around the size of a system testing job that's less well known, but one which I have used over the years when using function points wasn't feasible, or frankly, even when it was. And that's to estimate how many system tests you need to test a particular system as a basis for judging how much effort is needed to test it. I know that sounds a little like circular reasoning, but it's not. And this technique can be quite effective, but you need a good system testing methodology to use it.